In the vastness of the desert, the sun beat down with relentless intensity. The air shimmered with heat, and the dry winds whispered secrets only the sand seemed to understand. Jesus, after his baptism, found himself drawn into this barren place. There was no shelter from the elements, no companions to ease the loneliness. For 40 days and nights, he fasted, seeking clarity, struggling with his purpose, and preparing for the great journey ahead. But in the silence of the desert, something began to stir. It was as if the desert itself had a voice that echoed in his mind, tempting him with the promises of power, control, and glory. And so, there appeared before him, in a shimmer of mirage and shadow, the figure of a man, a figure both familiar and otherworldly. The figure spoke softly, its voice smooth, insistent. "If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become bread. Surely, you have the power to satisfy your hunger. Why suffer in this desolation? Why not take what is rightfully yours?" Jesus looked down at the stones scattered around him. He was indeed famished. His body was weak from days without food, but in his heart, he knew that his strength was not in earthly comforts. He answered, his voice calm yet firm, "Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God." The figure smiled, an almost imperceptible curve of its lips, before it vanished and reappeared on the highest point of a mountain. The view was vast, cities, kingdoms, riches, power, all laid out beneath them like jewels in a treasure chest. "All of this can be yours," the figure said, his voice now thunderous. "Bow down to me, and I will give you all the kingdoms of the world. You will have dominion over all, your name will be praised throughout time. Why struggle for what you deserve? The world is in your hands." Jesus gazed out at the kingdoms, feeling their lure but knowing the truth. Power, wealth, and fame were fleeting, easily corrupted. The path that led to those things would never satisfy the deeper hunger of the soul. "You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve," he replied, his voice unwavering. The figure seemed momentarily taken aback, but then it smirked and gestured toward the pinnacle of a high temple. "If you are the Son of God," it said, "throw yourself down. For it is written that the angels will catch you. Prove that you are truly divine. Show the world your power." The wind swirled around Jesus, and for a moment, he felt the pull of spectacle, the desire to show the world what he could do. But he also understood the danger of pride, of testing God, of seeking to manipulate faith for personal glory. He stood firm, rejecting the idea. "You shall not put the Lord your God to the test," he said, his words cutting through the silence like a sword. The desert grew still again. The figure, now defeated, slowly faded from sight, leaving Jesus alone once more. The temptations had been fierce, but each one had been an invitation to stray from the truth of his path. To give in to power, to fame, to the immediate gratification of the body, each was a diversion from the true purpose that lay ahead. Jesus knelt down, his body weary but his spirit steadfast. He knew the road ahead would not be easy. He would face rejection, suffering, and pain. But he also knew that the path of selfless love, of humility, and of service to others was the only way that would lead to lasting peace and redemption. And so, in the desert, he found not just hunger and thirst, but a deeper wisdom. The temptation had not been about the stones or the kingdoms or the angels. It had been a test of what was truly important, whether he would choose the fleeting rewards of the world or the eternal truth of God's love. The desert was no longer a place of desolation but a place of clarity. With each choice he had made, Jesus had embraced the higher calling, the call to serve others, to live with integrity, and to remain true to his divine purpose. And so, Jesus left the desert, not as a man who had been tested, but as a man who had been refined, ready to share the wisdom he had gained, ready to walk the path of sacrifice, and ready to lead the world, not with power, but with love. Moral of the story: true strength is not in power or dominance, but in the ability to resist the temptations of the world and stay true to one's higher calling. True fulfillment comes from selfless service and living according to values of love, integrity, and humility. In the face of temptation, it is the choice of what aligns with our deepest purpose that defines who we are.